Hi viewers, I am Lydia,
And I'm Dia.
and we're shooting a video with 5 questions with Lydia, where I would have my friends come around and talk about a few things, and I just ask them 5 questions of a certain topic, and they give me their views of what they think. And today, why am I getting nervous? And today, guys, we want to talk about kindness in general. The reason as to why I thought about this is because, I think it was two weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I not 2 weeks ago. I think it's like a month ago. I was listening to a certain preacher, and I don't want to be mentioning any names, but I was listening to a preacher, and he said that the problem that our generation has right now is that we know so much about church, how church should be organized, what are the things we say in church, what are the nice things to say, but we don't understand God. And at first I was like, that's weird. But at the same time, I thought like, I always had this weird feeling that church looks a little bit different to how it looked, how it felt when I was little. And I thought like, maybe it's just because I'm a grown up now and there was a child, and of course that counts. But do we really understand God? And one of the things that I want to bring up today is kindness, because like it's just a topic of church. Like we know that as Christians we're supposed to be kind, right? But do we understand the depth of kindness, what it does to our lives, and what it does to the people around us? And things like this. This is what I wanted to ask you about in general. By the way, guys, we live in Germany, but I'm Ugandan and Leah is German. She's one of my best friends here. So I'm blessed.
I'm the one who's blessed.
So, Leah, what comes to your mind when you think about kindness?
In general.
Yeah, in
kindness
general.
in general. Well, I would say that I always try to be kind. Kindness, I think, is something that's a trait, like a character trait that is desirable for me, at least. But I think for most people, to be called kind, to be known as someone who is kind, and to experience kindness the other way around is something that is so life-giving. And real, like, to be surrounded by kindness, by kind surrounding is it makes such a difference. It makes such a difference for your day. And I think that I have a tendency to look for the kind, and to like lean towards a place where I feel like that is one of the most important things when I look for even a place of work. Is it like, are the people kind? Is the atmosphere one of like kindness and gentleness? Or is it rather not? So many things that are the opposite. But so in terms of relationships and workplace, I think kindness is so desirable, and often I think also that comes along for me with a fear of conflict. Now I think I'm just translating kindness with harmony, but I think it's interwoven. So what is it for you?
To me, when I think about kindness, sometimes I think about sacrifice. That you forego you and watch someone else. It is like that's the feeling that comes first into my mind for a few times where I've been be kind.
Mm.
Like I had to forego
Mm.
me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like kindness for me is a two-way thing.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm kind to you, there is something it does to me.
Mm.
If that makes sense. Like uh, I feel like
Yes.
when you do something, for example, I would give an example of Christmas.
Mm.
This Christmas, there were very kind people that offered money, and out of that money, actually, we discussed with Leah, and we plan to feed, for example, 20 street children from Uganda,
Mm.
and we end up feeding like 100 street children, regardless of my circumstance for Christmas, like not having family here and everything.
Mm.
I felt like that was the biggest Christmas gift that I got when I got all these videos of children having food. Like for me, that was like I got I got like many Christmas gifts from friends, but that felt like the biggest Christmas gift that I got. Like I just know that like those acts of kindness when they're there, like there is something. Of course, it blesses the person you're being kind to, but also it blesses you as a person. So this is like my perspective of kindness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's lovely.
Yeah. And are there some things that are taught in your culture?
I don't think there are so many things that you could generalize for all of Germany, because it really depends on your upbringing, your family, and your like the circle you live in and grow up in.
Yeah.
Because I think it's and since these circles are a bit smaller than they are in Uganda, and they are more like just the core family and not the whole village, as you said. It's not so interwoven and not so diverse like the group of people you grow up with. I think it is rather depending on how your parents, probably mostly your parents, like raise you, and what they think is important to give you for the journey. What kind of advice, and then of course it depends whether you listen to them or not. I think and there are some things like when you're in a train or in a bus and there's an elderly person who stands, then you stand up.
Do your parents teach you that when you go to the tram, or you just see people do it from when you're growing up and then you just pick it up on that?
I think my parents all told me at one point, but I can't remember really. I just know that it's a thing, and I know some people do it and some people don't.
Okay.
But then also in terms of how we Germans communicate, I've already had, like, if we just pick out this showing of kindness, like offering your seat, I've had a few situations where I offered it and I was grunted at because the person I thought was maybe elderly and obviously older than me didn't feel old themselves or old enough to be offered a seat, and then they were like,
they get offended.
Yes. So I think maybe the people you don't see offering seats might have been like shouted at once or twice when they did that. So I don't know if it's just a lack of kindness and politeness, or if it's just experience and frustration that leads to not doing that. But in a more general term, or other aspects than like sitting in public transport, I can't think of any general thing that Germans would be taught as children, other than like some sayings like that, like as you shout into the, like, I don't know if that's an English form of speech, but I think it's German. When you, like, as you shout into the forest, it calls back to you, or it echoes back to you. And I think, I don't know if there's a similar saying in English. I'm not coming, like, I can't wrap my head around it right now, but yeah, so that means that as you treat others,
is the way
you're receiving the same treatment. And it's the way they're going to treat you. So I think there are some, like, there is a understanding of, if I wanted to be treated kindly, with kindness, then it's also my part to be kind. So I think that there is a general understanding of that, but it's not that. I think we're not taught as much kindness or general behavior, like good behavior and politeness, I think, as maybe other countries or other.
I think like in Uganda as well, like nobody, I don't know, like also like there is general things, but there is also like family as well. Even though we're very like community based, like you're a child of the whole village.
Yeah.
But like we have just those things that people just keep picking up on you if you're not behaving the way they think you should behave, which kind of ends up leading you into ways of kindness sometimes. And not everybody behaves kindly. It also depends on the person. Like we've got so many I've been selfish. There's so many other people who have been selfish as well. So are there moments that you've had in your life that you think when you didn't deserve it, somebody was kind to you or something kind happened in your life?
Sure.
And and what was that, and who was that, and how did it make you feel?
The first thing that comes to mind is my parents when I was a teenager. So looking back, I don't know if anybody can relate, but yeah, you're in your head and in your emotions caught up so much, and you're living in your world, and you think no one understands you, and you fight a lot with your parents, and you get into get into fights about things you like. Now I couldn't even name you the things we were fighting about. It was just things. And even though I surely, looking back now, I see that had like it was all my fault, sometimes entirely, sometimes to maybe 80%, at least 50% it was my fault that we were fighting and screaming. And for example, my dad, he is when we had a fight at latest in the evening, he would come around, he would come to my door, would knock, and he would say, I'm sorry that I like raised my voice, I'm sorry that we got into a fight, even if I wasn't like still, even if I was still grumpy. He would come and he would apologize. And
that is something I really find kind in Germany. In our parents in Africa don't knock on your doors and say, I'm sorry I shouted at you. They rather come and shout at you again.
I mean, it has. I felt really like appreciated, and it made me. I think as a parent, that was quite a good move for me. For example, it made me be a bit ashamed about my behavior. It made me feel ashamed about my behavior and think about, well, was it really necessary? And it helped me later on to practice that, to be quick to ask for forgiveness for the things I know I did wrong. So and I feel like, of course, you could name it in so many ways, but that was the first thing when you ask about kindness that I didn't deserve. So that's one of it, I think. Do you have any?
Yes, I do. The first one that I would say, like when I had just come to Germany, one time, like the winter of 2018, a woman, like I was living in Ella. Ella is a place in Düsseldorf in Germany, and I was coming to the train, but the train was gonna leave.
Oh yeah.
And it was winter, it was really cold, I wasn't used to it. And a woman stood in the door, like I had to wait for the light to turn green for me to even cross the road. But she was seeing me, and she was showing me that she's seeing me, that's why she's standing in the door, which I like. When you've just come, like people tell you of how German people are, for example, like, and you have your own perspective, and then like for me to see that, like she stood in the door and she for a long time, like they were trying to close the train, it was not closing. And she stood there, and when I got in, I said thank you in English, and then I went and sat down, and I was like, God, thank you so much for the favor you've put on my life. Who am I that somebody, a stranger, could think that they could care that I'm not cold outside for the next 8 minutes that they stood in the door. I think that was it's just those little things that
especially from a stranger.
Yeah,
like
from
an act of kindness from a stranger.
From a stranger, it changes
day.
so much. And sometimes it changed my perspective of what I should be expecting the German people to be, kind of like to be like cold or very straight or whatever, like you don't expect any emotions. I just thought that she thought about me, she saw me, she thought about me, and she said like, I'm not leaving this girl to stand outside in the cold for 8 minutes. You know, it's like she was completely a stranger, like I said, like that. It's really nice. And also of course the example of Jesus dying on the cross for us, that is one kind act that we all don't never deserved, because like he came and died for the sins he didn't commit, and all that, like that is
well, that's a whole other league.
That's a whole other level of kindness. So
but I think it like it's a good picture because it's so hard to imagine someone doing this, giving his life for even people who don't like him or who are
not Christian,
obviously like aggressive towards him, and that's so important for our daily life too. To even if you're not expecting the people to react thankfully or like nicely, then still be kind.
Could you tell the viewers what you think, if there are any excuses for us not to be kind?
Well, I think it depends how you define kindness. Do you define kindness as I'm always saying nice things to people and I'm always putting other people first? And I'm, as you said, it's a sacrifice of some kind to maybe put my mood in the background and the way I would like want to behave, and to be calm and gentle and listen and maybe have time for someone else when I feel I don't even have time for myself. Or do you think you, like you said, you always have to say good things to people even though they might not be true? So the question was, do we always have to be kind, or
do we have excuses?
Do we have excuses? So if you define it as always saying nice things, I think yes, because sometimes it's kinder. I think for me, kindness also means to have the best interest of the person in front of you at heart. And sometimes the best interest is to say the not kind thing, like the not kind sounding thing, and not the nice thing, but if it's true, that's kindness too.
I think kindness goes in line with truth. Like it has to be true. I told you a story where I wore a see-through skirt, a see-through skirt, and I didn't know that it was see-through, and nobody told. They're saying like, nice skirt.
And that's
like just telling me that it's nice. It feels good. But
it's like fast food kindness. You feel good in the moment, and you think, oh, she liked my skirt, and I look pretty. But thinking afterwards, I've run around the whole day with everyone seeing my underwear. Or that's not kindness. Or another sort of kindness. So I think it really depends. But if you define kindness as having the best interests of other people at heart, then I think the only excuse not to do is not to be kind, is if it really, like if there's a great conflict between, like a really big conflict between your well-being and theirs. Like if there are things, then you, like, we have to have boundaries too, and to see that like we are doing okay as well. So I think depending on which type of person you are, if you rather tend towards like doing everything for the other, then it's also kindness to yourself to do something.